Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chill English Podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Alice. It's always great to have you here with us. So take a deep breath, grab your favorite drink, and let's chill together, because today's topic might just change the way you think about your life.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever stopped yourself from doing something you really wanted to do, just because you were afraid of what other people might think?
Oof, that hits hard. I've done that so many times. I used to love dancing, but I stopped going to dance classes because I thought people were judging me.
I feel that. I used to avoid speaking English in public just because I was scared someone would laugh at me or correct me. That fear, it can control your life.
It really can, and sometimes we don't even realize how much it's affecting us. That's why today's episode is called Stop Worrying About What Others Think.
We're going to talk about why we care so much about other people's opinions, how that fear holds us back, and what we can do to break free from it.
We'll share personal stories, give you some helpful tools, and yes, our fun vocabulary time is coming later too.
Oh, and don't forget, we've made a free PDF file for you. It has all the key points from today's episode, plus the vocabulary we'll go over. You can download it and use it to review or study later. Super helpful if you're learning English. Alright, if you're tired of holding yourself back because of other people's opinions, this episode is for you.
Let's learn how to be brave, be real, and stop letting fear control us.
Let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about something that's kind of uncomfortable but super important. Why we care so much about what other people think in the first place.
Yeah, because most of us don't want to care, right? We tell ourselves, I don't care what people think. But deep down, we still do. Why is that?
Well, let's take it back, way back. As humans, we're wired to want connection and approval. Thousands of years ago, being accepted by the group literally meant survival. If the group rejected you, you were alone, and alone meant danger.
Exactly. So this fear isn't totally crazy. It's part of our biology. But the problem is, our brains are still reacting like it's life or death, even when the danger is just someone not liking our outfit.
Right? Like, your brain goes, warning, this stranger on Instagram might not like your selfie. Abort mission.
Or you want to raise your hand in class or at work, but suddenly your heart races and your mind says, what if I sound stupid?
I used to feel that way when learning English. I knew the grammar, I knew the vocabulary, but still, I'd stay silent. I was more afraid of being judged than of missing out on learning.
That's such a common feeling, and I think social media makes it worse.
Definitely. We're constantly looking at likes, comments, views. It's like we've made other people's opinions into a scoreboard for our self-worth.
And it's exhausting, because even when you do something well, you might still worry, was that good enough?
And that's the trap. When we live for approval, we forget who we really are. We shape our actions based on what we think others want, not what we want.
So true. And for English learners out there, maybe you're afraid to speak because you don't want to be corrected, or you're shy about your accent.
But guess what? Everyone starts somewhere. No one speaks perfectly in the beginning. What matters is that you try. You show up.
Exactly. Your voice matters, even if it's not perfect. The people who judge, most of the time, they're not even doing half the things you're trying to do.
But really, if we can understand why we care so much, then we can start to change it. We can catch those thoughts, question them, and slowly shift the way we see ourselves.
So, if you've ever held back because you were afraid of being judged, just know you're not broken. You're just human.
And the good news? You can rewire that fear. You can train your brain to focus more on your own voice and less on what everyone else thinks.
All right, coming up next, we'll talk about the real cost of caring too much about other people's opinions and how it's holding you back more than you think.
Yep, we're going deep in part 3. Stay with us. Okay, so we've talked about why we care so much about what others think. Now it's time to get real. What actually happens when we let that fear control us?
When we care too much, we start living our lives for other people. And that means we stop living for ourselves.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I had a job I didn't like, but I stayed there for way too long, just because I didn't want my family or friends to think I was quitting or unstable.
Wow, that's so real. And you're not alone, Brian. I had a similar thing. I didn't apply to art school because some people told me it wasn't practical, and I believed them.
So what happened?
I felt stuck. I lost motivation. I didn't feel like me anymore. And that's the thing. When you always try to please others, you slowly disappear. You become a version of yourself that's acceptable, but not authentic.
Yup. And here's what else happens. You overthink everything. You second-guess your decisions. You say yes when you want to say no. You stay quiet when you want to speak.
You also start comparing yourself to everyone. They're doing better than me. They look more confident. They have more likes. It's exhausting.
And worst of all, you start doubting your own worth.
That hits hard, because you might be kind, talented, funny, but none of that matters if you don't believe in yourself.
Let me ask our listeners this. What have you not done because of fear of judgment? Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel, speaking English in public, wearing that outfit, or just being yourself.
We all have that thing, that dream, that desire, that idea we've been hiding. And usually the only thing stopping us is fear of what people will say.
But here's the truth. Most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think.
Right? People are too busy worrying about themselves.
Exactly. And even if someone does judge you, so what? Their opinion isn't your reality.
Here's a quote I love. You can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there will still be someone who doesn't like peaches.
Yes. So stop trying to please everyone. It's impossible, and it's not your job.
Your job is to be you. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. You don't need 100 people's approval, you just need your own.
Coming up next, we'll share some practical tips on how to stop worrying about what others think and how to start living more freely.
Don't forget to download the free PDF with all the key ideas and vocabulary from this episode. It's in the description below.
All right, time to take action. Let's go to part 4. All right, Alice. We've talked about why we care so much and what happens when we let it control us. But now, let's get practical. How do we stop caring so much about what others think?
Yes, it's time to give our listeners some real tools they can use. Because honestly, this fear is something we all face. But we don't have to be stuck in it forever.
Absolutely. So here's the first tip. Notice the pattern. When do you feel that fear of judgment? Is it when you post something online? When you speak up in class or at work?
Or maybe when you try something new, like singing in front of your friends or speaking English in public. It's important to pause and ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of right now?
That moment of awareness is powerful. Once you catch that thought, like, they'll laugh at me or they'll think I'm not good enough, you can actually challenge it.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second tip. Ready for it?
Always.
Ask yourself, so what? Seriously, let's say someone does think your idea is weird. So what? Will it stop the world from spinning?
Probably not. Most of the time, the worst-case scenario is just uncomfortable, not dangerous. You might feel awkward or embarrassed for a second, and then life goes on.
And honestly, half the time people aren't even thinking about you. They're too busy worrying about themselves.
Totally true. Okay, third tip, do it anyway. Don't wait until you feel fearless. Just take action even while you're nervous.
That's it. The fear might not go away right away, but if you keep showing up, it gets smaller. You build confidence through action.
Like working out at the gym. The first time feels awkward, but if you keep going, you get stronger. Same with courage.
I love that comparison. Tip number 4 is one of my favorites. Choose whose opinion really matters.
Yes, not everyone's voice should have the same weight in your life. Ask yourself, do I even respect this person's opinion?
Right? Like, would you take advice from them? Do they want the best for you? If not, why let their judgment hold you back?
Your life isn't a popularity contest. It's your journey. You don't need everyone's approval.
And finally, tip 5. Remind yourself who you are. What do you want? What do you value?
Yeah, sometimes we get so lost in other people's thoughts that we forget our own. Ask yourself, what would I do if no one was watching?
Ooh, good one. That's powerful.
Thanks. So those are our 5 tips. Notice the pattern. Ask so what? Do it anyway. Choose your people. Remind yourself who you are.
And don't worry if you forget them. We've put them all in a free PDF file for you. It's in the description below. You'll find the key ideas, some reflection questions, and vocabulary too.
Yep, just download it. Take your time and go over it whenever you need a confidence boost.
All right, up next, everyone's favorite part, vocabulary time. Let's break down some key phrases from today's chat.
Welcome back to Vocabulary Time. Alice, we picked some really useful words from today's episode. Ready to explain them?
Always. Let's start with the first one, peer pressure.
Okay, so peer pressure means the feeling that you have to do something because your friends or people your age expect it, even if you don't really want to.
Right, like when you might try a new style or say something just to fit in with a group.
Next up, people pleaser.
A people pleaser is someone who tries really hard to make others happy, sometimes even at their own expense.
Yeah, and that can make you feel tired or unhappy because you're always putting others first.
Our third word is self-worth. This means how much you value yourself and believe you deserve good things.
It's super important. When your self-worth is strong, you don't need constant approval from others.
Next word, authentic. This means being real and true to who you are, not pretending or copying others.
I love this one. Being authentic means showing your true colors, even if it's not popular.
Now, let's talk about overthinking.
Overthinking means thinking too much about something, often worrying about all the possible bad outcomes.
It can stop you from taking action because your mind gets stuck in a loop of what if?
Last word for today is confidence boost.
A confidence boost is something that makes you feel more sure of yourself and your abilities.
Like when you practice speaking English and get a little better, that's a confidence boost.
Exactly. Little wins add up to big confidence over time.
Awesome. Those words really connect to today's topic.
If you want a reminder, all these words, their meanings, and example sentences are in the free PDF file we mentioned earlier.
Perfect for studying and practicing.
All right, that wraps up vocabulary time. Next, we'll do a quick final reflection and close the episode.
All right, Alice, we've covered a lot today. I really hope our listeners feel a little lighter, a little freer to just be themselves.
Me too, Brian. Remember, it's a journey. Learning to stop worrying about what others think takes time and practice.
Definitely. Be patient with yourself. Every small step forward is a big win.
And don't forget, you're not alone in this. So many people struggle with these feelings.
If you ever feel stuck, go back to those tips, use the free PDF, and remind yourself of your worth.
Yes, and celebrate your authentic self every day. You deserve that.
Thanks so much for joining us on Chill English Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend who might need to hear this.
And subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time with more helpful tips and good vibes.
Take care, everyone. Stay confident, stay you.
Bye for now.